Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to another Kerfuffle Spotlight. Delighted to have Babek on the show today for OneDome. How are you, Babek? You looking good?
Great, thank you. How are you? Hi, everybody.
Hello. Yes, good afternoon to everybody today. I said you've let me down, haven't you? Normally you turn up in your beautifully ironed white shirt and you've got all relaxed and casual on me. Is that because we're going to have a prop tech conversation today?
Well, I took your feedback on board. I even get myself a special hat as well with OneDome on it. You told me I always look way too serious, so I tried to.
I genuinely like it. I like, clearly I make no effort, so it's good that some people do. But anyway, good stuff. Yeah, so Babek, I'm really pleased to have you on. Thanks again for joining us here. And the title of the show is going to be today. The portal that makes you money. So that's obviously going to be fantastic, interesting, and everything else there. I think it wouldn't be too unkind of me to say that obviously I think everybody knows the name OneDome, but maybe there's a bit of confusion about exactly what you guys do.
Yeah.
Should we just touch on that at the moment? Obviously, in terms of they do know, and now obviously you're a portal, and you've got some, but we're going to go into depth there. But just basically, what's the main difference between OneDome and the other portals? Obviously, the big two, Rightmove and Zoopla.
Well, very good question. Thank you very much for asking it. So let's start with first, obviously, we are a free-to-list portal versus the other portals are pay-to-list. That's obviously the first kind of financial difference. Now, if you go a little bit deeper into that, current portals continue to act like kind of giant advertising billboards, right? Yeah. So their whole business model is based on obviously subscription fees and some kind of data mining in terms of targeting the users with email campaigns. That model was very good model in early 2000s when during the first internet revolution or first phase of digital revolution. Yeah. But increasingly, we see online platforms doing a lot more than just basic advertising in our day-to-day life, right? We buy pretty much most of the things now online. We buy books, electronics, jewelry, fashion items, plants, food. E-commerce is slowly taking every aspect of our day-to-day shopping habits. Yeah. Now, things we thought that would never go online are now going online. And what e-commerce platforms like Amazon did really well, they joined up the whole experience from consumers' perspective, but also help businesses to do business in a much more streamlined way. So if you would like to launch a retailer tomorrow, or if you have a big retailer, there are so many platforms that can make it really easy and streamlined for you to do business. So process is now so optimized that as obviously we see more and more engagement from end consumers and businesses with these online platforms. Yeah. In contrast, if you look at a home buying, right? So home buying is probably the least digital experience we have at the moment. And it's nobody's really fault because there isn't actually a technology solution that joins up all the different steps in the home buying process. So you obviously have these advertising billboards or AKA portals. You obviously then have this kind of a journey that consumer has to go through and learn in the process as well what they need to do to be able to buy. So not only they're worried about what they are buying, but they also need to worry about how they buy. And that results in obviously very stressful experience for consumers, broken coordination between various businesses and parts, which makes transactions becoming longer and longer. It's now, they say 16 weeks, 20 weeks. It just negatively impact consumer, but also negatively impact cash flows of the businesses. So that's where we see the next big step in the so-called portal space is providing an agent and consumers with a home buying platform. Like think about all the steps in the journey and connect them together so consumer can have this kind of good, seamless experience while businesses can get their cash flow as quickly as possible and in the process also generate more money. I genuinely believe if we make home buying process simpler and hopefully that by itself will yield to lower tax at one point, because if the government starts to see that there's more willingness to do transactions by consumers, that will start impacting their also decision around reducing the taxes and increasing the liquidity in the home buying transaction. This is not new thing. It happened already in the financial industry. So if you look at financial industry 50 to 100 years ago, things used to be done by faxes. It used to take a lot of time. It was a very high withholding tax on any financial transaction. But as technology starts to get more and more into transactions and kind of make them more streamlined, more people, first of all, got involved in so more people who were not planning to invest in financial and start to invest. The time it takes to do a financial transaction went from months or 2 months down to a couple of days. And that obviously resulted in a more liquidity for the world market. I hope this explains OneDome. So OneDome is a home buying platform versus portals are advertising platforms. And that's the fundamental difference.
Yeah, and there's some lofty goals in there as well. What do you feel is your own, being honest? What do you think is going to be the main barrier to trying to help you hit those targets?
Well, like with anything new, any new product, it always takes time to explain to businesses the benefits of what we do, the amount of cash they can generate out of this. And also from a consumer perspective, obviously we're facing two well-known household brands like Rightmove and Zoopla. So our message is to tell consumers we're very different. We are not copycat of Rightmove or of Zoopla. Obviously, we also provide listing of properties to consumers by our estate agency partners. But at the end of the day, the solution we offer to consumers is very different. We aim to help them to buy a house faster than they do otherwise.
Okay. And talk us through, why would a consumer use OneDome then instead of the biggest of them all, Rightmove out there? What is the, you've touched on it there, but what would be the main? Why would the consumer do that?
Well, the most effective thing that they say, it's always hard to promote a copycat product, right? Like if I'm familiar with the brand and I know how it works, I will always use that one unless somebody else comes in and solves the problems that bigger brand doesn't solve. And that's the fundamental difference between OneDome and the other portals. We're solving a different problem. We're trying to make a home buyer to go through a nicer experience in buying property, all by still keeping the current infrastructure in place. It's just connecting them better.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And obviously the title of the show is obviously you're the portal that makes money there. Just talk us through that aspect there. What are the different ways you actually make agents money?
Well, it's based on a very simple philosophy, right? So the fastest and best managed transactions are the ones where estate agent, conveyancer, and mortgage broker know each other.
Yeah.
So they all work in some kind of network. In some instances, obviously, estate agents will own conveyancing firm and the mortgage firm. In some instances, they would just have a very good local relationship based on trust and years of working together. So no technology can do better than that. What we try to do, though, is we try to help agents to take those networks they have, right, these local networks or local relationship, and bring them online and with that, generate them more business for their suppliers, for their network. So how does that work? The leads that we generate for agents will automatically be passed to their network of suppliers, building them some kind of ecosystem. So every agent has his own ecosystem of conveyancing firms they like to work with, the mortgage firms they like to work with. What we try to do is to make sure that the passage of lead between those businesses is as efficient as possible, giving agents a better control of their pipeline, obviously also higher conversion, because every time we pass the lead, we will then nurture the customer to drive them to convert into a business for that particular supplier. As we do not interfere with any kind of referral relationship these businesses have between themselves, obviously as a result of it, we generate more revenue. I mean, if you look at conversion rates, for every applicant that is pushed to OneDome by the agent, we convert about 20 to 25% into a supplier business. And an agent has an ability to see all of this in a very transparent way via our platform. So all of that is very transparent and very kind of out there for them to look at and play with. So if some agents do not have their network of suppliers, they might not have like a preferred conveyancer or preferred mortgage broker, or they've taken a policy of not making money from auxiliary services. That doesn't really matter. We can still provide them a ready-made network because we work with a large number of law firms, with large number of mortgage firms. So we can build them that network even if they don't have one.
So quite opposed to, you're not looking to replace it. You obviously do have relationships with conveyancers there, but actually it's about reinforcing and actually improving on just that communication challenge between their existing partners as much as anything.
Absolutely, because just think about, right, like if a conveyancer doesn't know an agent, and if an agent calls conveyancer to ask him some question or ask for a favor, most likely that conveyancer will not deal with that call saying, well, I don't know you, you're not my customer. Versus if the conveyancer is local or is known to an agent and no agent is known to conveyancer, there is a higher likelihood that these firms will cooperate and coordinate and work closely with each other in a collaborative format. And that is the best for the consumer at the end of the day, because what all of us want at the end of the day, whether you are a buyer or a seller or an agent or a conveyancer or a mortgage broker, we all want one thing. We want transactions happen in the smoothest and the most efficient way.
Yeah.
And to achieve that, we believe the best way to achieve it is through a local networks of the estate agents and conveyancers and mortgage brokers. And that is what our solution does.
So that's really interesting. You mentioned before, obviously, in the other industry, talking about the age of obviously faxes and things like that. Obviously, conveyancers and local solicitors have got a bit of a poor reputation, haven't they, with agents in terms of, they're only just getting around to using email and stuff like that. How well are they adopting your systems? How easy are they? Do they see it as a benefit, or are you trying to just fix a square peg into a round hole?
Well, to be honest, there is a stereotype of conveyancers suggesting that they're like not trying or they don't want to try to make things faster. In reality, the problem is much bigger than that. There's so much regulation and so much burden on conveyancer. They need to obviously protect their business against any kind of mistake or any kind of error that can end up obviously biting them back at a later stage in the process. So if you speak to conveyancers independently from a estate agent, they would say sometimes they don't have all the information up front that they need from an estate agent to be able to move the case forward quickly. Sometimes there's no tools for them that can help them to make things faster. So whereas obviously we cannot improve or make a bad conveyancer better, but what we can do is we can promote best behavior, or we can help to remove some of those unnecessary steps from the process, or kind of automate at least the data sharing between the agent and conveyancer, and making sure that an agent provide all the right things that conveyancer wants, and at the same time the steps conveyancer has to take to process that data is also happen in the most automated way possible. And to be fair, most of the sensible conveyancing firms realize that they need to make more money. And they also realize that they need to serve their customers, consumers, but also their partners, estate agents, better. So they are happy to be part of this community, of this network, and work together. The feedback we so far get from most of the conveyancing firms were predominantly great.
Okay, you're right to challenge me on me obviously doing a lazy stereotype. I fall into that too easily. So well done for defending them. You're right on that point. So to talk about, if I was to be, being the cynical old so-and-so that I am, I mean, it sounds absolutely fantastic. You're obviously giving the agents revenue stream and everything else there. Is there a catch? I mean, what is there I should be asking?
Well, this is a very good point, because unfortunately some of the sales teams of other portals are concerned with our success so far, been using bad-mouthing us, suggesting that we're taking money away from estate agents, or we're doing some kind of taking data away from them. We've mentioned many times in the public domain, first of all, we are free to list, and we're free to list forever. It's guaranteed for 100 years. Secondly, we don't sell agents listing data to third parties. So anybody suggesting differently, I would love to speak to that person and get an evidence from them of that happening. And thirdly, the way we make money is really, really simple. We generate leads for different people. It's all optional. And if we generate them leads, we make money from that. So let's go one by one. So on the case of conveyancing, so we will push the lead from an agent to conveyancer. We will not charge conveyancer a referral fee. We will not charge agents for that either. But we make money from all the disbursement services that conveyancer needs to use to progress the transaction, like ordering local authority searches, ordering environment searches, ordering, I don't know, various other search products that they need to progress transaction. We charge a market rate to conveyancers, so we don't overcharge them, but obviously the wholesale suppliers of those products give us a margin per transaction, per sales pack we sell. That is how we make money from conveyancing. This is an area where conveyancers by law are not allowed to make money, so it doesn't really impact their cash flows.
Yeah.
Now, the second area where how we make money is from mortgages, and in a way, the way we make money from mortgages, we offer two services to a estate agent. If an estate agent has their own mortgage firm or have a very strong mortgage relationship, we will say convert and send the lead in the form of a fact find to that mortgage broker, saving them several hours of back and forth emailing or calls with the customer. I will charge them a small fee per conversion that we get. It's not a referral fee. It's just a small kind of administrative fee that we have to charge for the work, obviously, we produce. Now, we also have an optional service for estate agents. As you know, listing of OneDome is free. We also have a service called Find an Agent, which is also free to list on. But if an agent wants to receive a qualified vendor leads from OneDome, we will send that lead for them free of charge. But if that customer, if that agent ends up taking the lead and selling the property, we will charge them a small fee on completion. Again, we will not charge agent anything if they don't make money from it. Yeah. And that is, again, is an optional service. There is no condition or precondition or anything like that in our contracts that forces agents to take that product. But again, from our experience, most of the agents see this as a no-brainer because we only charge them if they make money from us. And in reality, if you think about equivalent of our average revenue per account that other portals have, to some extent, agent actually would want to have the highest possible average revenue per account that OneDome generates from them, because that means that we generate even more money for them. And to put numbers to what I say, because I know talk is cheap, and I like to put numbers always when I talk about something. At the moment, agents who are using our whole platform are generating between 350 to 400 pounds per branch.
Okay.
So you can do the math yourself and how many branches you have and how much money you can get out of our system.
Sorry, is that per month?
Per month, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty striking there. So, and what's that a sample across? How many offices is that on the platform doing that?
Well, there's a larger number. I can't tell you exactly the number of agents. I mean, we have at the moment over 7,250 agents listing across two websites, Net House Prices and OneDome. We are just going, what we've been doing in the last 6 to 7 months is working with the focus group of estate agents and making sure that they understand the product, they know how it works, and they generate the revenue. So we build case studies. Hopefully within the next few weeks, we'll start to publish those case studies out and actually get those agents to talk to agents themselves, telling them about their experience. And hopefully then we will be able to also publish the numbers.
I think, hello, let's just see. Babek, have you disappeared? I hope that wasn't, it sounded like a Dalek was getting you. Babek, let's just have a look, see if he's here. Let's have a look here. No. Give him a couple of seconds to kick back in. So that's quite interesting looking at that levels of obviously revenue in terms of there. I will wait for him to come back and then I'll ask him a couple of follow-ups. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think so. I think he has been exterminated by all accounts. Let's just have a look, see where he is. Oh, he's logged back in. Sorry, thank you for your kind comments. I do have that effect on people, don't I? Here was me thinking with a heavy head that was going to be difficult, but he's just up to left me. Now you're all jumping in now, aren't you? It's so easy there. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Thought you just banged the tunes on. Yes, Phil, absolutely great there. Let's just give him another couple of seconds, and then we'll try and kick on. Here he is. I can see him popping back in. Hello, Babek. Hello.
I am not sure what happened, really.
It sounded like a Dalek had come to attack you, as a number of people have made the point that I think your competitor portals had tried to take you down. So take it as a compliment. You're obviously getting to them there. So you were just talking through those numbers there, obviously, Babek, in terms of hugely.
You know where I stopped, because I obviously I kept talking without realizing I was kicked out.
Yeah, well, that happens. I have lots of conversations like that, mostly with my partner. I can't remember. We were talking about, obviously, you were talking about the focus groups. So you were talking about working with those. You're going to be releasing. We'd love to see those. Obviously, release those out to Kerfuffle, and we'll share that with our audience. That would certainly be very interesting to see there. Just in terms of, give us some more flavour in terms of those stats that you're talking about, though. Yeah. So how many users you get to your website. The level of leads that you generate. Are you, for example, do you focus on sales and lettings? Can you just give us a flavour of those?
Of course. So as you know, we have two websites, OneDome.com and nethouseprices.com. Yep. So in terms of unique monthly visitors, so we look at basically a unique IP that comes to our website on a monthly basis. Last month, we had 1.5 million unique monthly visitors that came to our website. At the moment, we go about 30% higher versus June numbers. So expect these numbers to be around 30-35% higher than what we had in June. In terms of the number of leads, so we've generated last month 170,000 leads. To estate agents. So that's obviously a combination of sales and letting leads. As with most of the portals, letting leads will represent a bigger numbers than the sales leads. I assume it's the case with most of the other portals as well. In terms of number of leads per branch, we generate anywhere between 30 to about 60 leads per branch, depending on obviously we can drive the user to properties. We can't obviously turn them to lead, even though we're doing our best in trying to get agents as many free leads as we can.
And what's the quality like, Babek? Because obviously it's fantastic to hear those ones there. One of the criticisms of a number of the other portals is that they do just generate leads that are, frankly, many of them are tire kickers. Do you go for the quality approach, or do you or are you always just trying to generate as many leads as possible and let the agent try to convert what they can?
We certainly try, because bear in mind, we don't make money from listings, right? So our KPIs are not page views or sessions, etc., or dwell time. That doesn't really add us any value. We aim to drive leads to an agent, and hopefully, as an agent builds their network with us, then we can pass that lead to a conveyancer, a mortgage broker, and hopefully we all generate revenue from that. So we are very much aligned in terms of our interests with the agent. I can't promise you that every lead we send to an agent will be a high quality lead, because it's just
make that outrageous promise for me. On the
no, unfortunately, I would love to, but it's if you look at the volume of leads generated in the portal market among these four big portals, there's about 80 million leads generated by Rightmove, Zoopla, and On the Market in combination per year, for only 1 million sales and 1.3 million rental transactions. As you see, the ratio of leads to transaction or transaction to leads is very, very low. We obviously try to do our best. Every time we get a feedback, we look at the source of the lead we receive. If there's a particular negative source of the leads that we receive, we try to kind of find a way to improve this. But there's that much we can do. Obviously, we constantly improve, because in our interest as well is to have leads that convert. Like the leads that don't convert, actually, it's a waste for us. I'm sure it's a waste for agents as well. So it's in nobody's interest.
I get that, and like obviously my old company, Repit, they have the ability to import your leads and things like that, so they'll be able to import those in there. Do you have? I mean, on two levels, I assume you have feeds from all the main CRM companies out there, and do most of those enable you to import the leads as well? Just talk us through that kind of.
So leads go in a various formats. So we have an way to we all the leads we generate go in a machine readable email format. Yep. So if a CRM is set up to read a machine readable email, they would be able then obviously to extract the data from it and push to their CRM. Some CRMs are advanced, some of them not. Obviously, it's not here for me to comment about the capability of the CRMs, but we always obviously try to help an agent to get the leads in the best way possible. In certain instances, that becomes really problematic. So what we try to do is we also have an API solution where we put all the agent's leads into a certain place, and the agent, either CRM or another solution they use, can extract all those leads and take them maybe once a day or several times a day. Those are the kind of two different options we have. In terms of feed, with certain CRMs, we have feed integration, or we take the feed directly. In certain instances, CRMs are a little bit more difficult with that, but we always have a technological way to solve this problem, so we can take the feed from an agent one way or another.
And what's the frequency, Babak? Is it a daily update? Is it more regular than that? What's the process?
Well, we have an ability to do a lifetime feed. Unfortunately, a lot of CRMs do not provide that facility to us at the moment. So most of the time, it's a daily update. Yeah. So we are aware of the fact that in ideal world we want to go to a kind of a lifetime update, but at the moment that is not something that is available to us. Not on our side. It's just we can't have access to it.
Got to understand. And you were talking there about the fantastic figure, obviously, unsurprisingly, given what's happening and the mini bounce back we're in. Obviously, traffic's fantastically there. What was just the trend over that whole lockdown period? I mean, as we would expect, people would have been looking online. How did that work on your own portal?
So what happened is we've seen we had a very strong beginning of March in terms of all the consumer metrics, and after the lockdown, as soon as the lockdown was announced, all our metrics collapsed in the second half of March. We've seen an okay April, which was obviously worse than February and the March figures. And the first half of May was a bit more like the second half of March, but the second half of May was so good that May was our best month of the year in May, and end of May. And then obviously June was significantly better than any month we ever had in the history of OneDome. And obviously July at the moment looks like will be much better than actually several months put together. So if you look at just the first 15 days of July, where we had more traffic and more leads that we've generated in January, February, March, April, May, and slightly less than in June. But now, if you do like for like, 15th of June versus 15th of July, our figures were like 40%, 35 to 40% higher.
It's really hard, isn't it? Because agents are so used to, we hear all these stellar figures in terms of obviously traffic, and often it doesn't, you can't really try to link it to actual activity in the marketplace. Via the leads, though, are you able to see that is, that it is a healthy market, that people are serious, that people, are you able to gauge from the leads that side of things, or is that a step too far?
No, definitely. So I think there's definitely a good intention from consumers. Obviously, I don't know if you're aware, mortgage market at the moment has a limitation in terms of the level of LTV banks offer to consumers. So I believe there's only a handful of banks that currently offer 90% LTV. There's no bank offering 95% LTV. And most of the banks are at the moment in more like kind of 85 area. That obviously removes certain type of customer base at the moment due to the smaller deposits that they have that they were anticipating prior to lockdown. In terms of if somebody has at the moment a 5% deposit rate, it's much harder for them to get the funding in place. So I think if you look at what a blocking transaction volume is, probably that's one of these things we can see as a potential block. But from what I understand, banks are getting more and more comfortable with the market. So we hopefully will start to see banks bringing the 95% mortgages back, and that will help to boost transaction further. Obviously, government done what they could on their side is by removing the stamp duty for properties below £500,000, which is again a great thing to help to boost the volume of transaction. I think probably the one thing that is kind of unknown at the moment is what will happen to economy after October, when most of these benefits will be taken away. That is probably our biggest worry. We might see.
Don't worry about that. Kick that can down the road. We'll worry about that when we get to it.
Well, the good thing is, the reason I mentioned this is we've actually thought about this, and one of the solutions we brought in for estate agents that agents will be able to use pretty much immediately with OneDome. Obviously, agents are listing with OneDome. We built this product called, together with an insurance company called Free Buyer Protection Insurance.
Okay.
That protects any prospective buyer if they start their home journey now and they put an offer and start the process. And if they made redundant in the process, they will receive all the money they spent with various professionals or like different services back. So we provide them kind of protection up to £2,250. Any agent that lists with OneDome and uses OneDome transactional platform will have access to that product, which we're just about to actually announce. So I'm probably doing a bit of the service to our marketing team. It's called OneDome Guarantee. Okay. It will be accessible to all the agents. It will be limited only to 120 free policies per year. So we don't charge agents for that. That policy normally costs £90 per case. And we offer up to 120 of those policies completely free of charge to estate agents. Okay. And the view of that is provide a great solution for consumers who are worried about losing their jobs in the next 3 to 4 months, but at the same time provide an agent a great USP to provide a better service or kind of a bit more to their buyer. And if we believe that, according to stats, 60 to 65% of buyers are also vendors, obviously impressing the buyer with your service will help you down the line to get their for sale property as well.
That's great. And do you set yourself, you can tell me, you'd have to kill me if you do, but have you set yourself targets and goals for what you want to do, just either on a traffic level or on an acquisition of agents level? What can you give us in terms of where you want the website, where you want the portal to go?
So we aim to get to 10,000 branches by end of this year, and we are very much on track for that. And the goal within, obviously, with the larger agents, it will be a longer conversation as we kind of anticipate. But in terms of our overall exposure, we want to get to 10,000 branches by end of this year. In terms of traffic, we expect our traffic to grow 20% month on month, which is our main goal. And so far, we smashed that goal. And in terms of the increase of leads, again, we expect to increase the leads at least 10 to 15% month on month to agents that we work with. Now, the last thing we are also working at the moment is a lot of agents who are joining us, obviously giving us their support, and I'm really grateful for everybody who wrote very nice comments about us in various news outlets or on Facebook groups. And one thing I've asked my product and marketing team to work on at the moment, and hopefully we'll start announcing more in next few weeks, is we want to help our agents. We call them, all agents listing with us, we call them OneDome agents, because we feel that we want to build this kind of community with them and work very closely with them. So what we are working on at the moment is building a series of benefits, a series of tools that will equip our agents to help them to stand out from every other competitor out there. So any agent that is working with OneDome can rest assured that we will do our best to make sure that we will equip them with the tools that make their conversation in front of a vendor on the sofa much more comfortable and much more powerful than that their competitor will be able to do. Now, one of these things we've done in the last 3-4 weeks is we've integrated with Sprift. So I don't know if you're familiar about it.
Yeah, okay. So Sprift, obviously great company, data analytics, or deep data, all those wonderful buzzwords. So yeah, just
so what Sprift actually does, it's a different version of best price guide of Rightmove, right? So it gives access to agents to all the data about, or the most comprehensive data about every single property in the UK. and also allow them to produce agent-branded reports. So those market appraisal reports. So those market appraisal reports can be printed, but they can also be sent as a link. If they send as a link, every time the prospective vendor opens that link, an agent receives a notification, giving them kind of an idea what's the best time to approach that vendor with a call or maybe another follow-up email. Now, what we have done with Sprift is we integrated Sprift into now our platform and within the so-called OneDome Pro, which is the account that agents use to log in to a backend of OneDome. And they have access to Sprift completely free of charge for 6 months. So any agent using OneDome can have access to Sprift for 6 months completely free of charge. And after 6 months, obviously, they will do a commercial deal with Sprift. We are not making any money from Sprift, and I'm sure Matt will be able to confirm that. The only purpose we do that is to help our agents to have better reporting, have access to better data. And these are the solutions that will continue to build up. We will open our OneDome Pro platform to the best PropTech solutions out there, which have a strong customer or agent adoption, with the view to help our agents to stand out versus everybody else in the industry.
So you're actively looking for those sorts of, because, you know, often the integrations are something that, you know, you almost feel that some of the prop tech companies go, oh God, it's too much of a headache, but you genuinely see the benefit in terms of those tie-ups, yeah?
Well, we can't build everything ourselves. That is not possible. Nobody can. So obviously, if there are products, we wouldn't integrate with any prop tech company, but what we would do is, if there is a prop tech company out there that can work with the portal, but also has a very strong adoption by estate agents, that is where we would obviously be willing to open our platform and integrate with them and give all our agents access to their product.
That's great. Well, look, Sprift, fantastic company. I absolutely love their report. So I think that's a really good tie-up. The fact that you gazumped me as well with a 6-month deal there is even better. That's really compelling. I mean, that's just a really great way of seeing two companies, innovative companies like yourself, tying together. So I'm sure that will go down very well. I had to say that, by the way, because of course we all are ICG members, of course, as well. And where is he? Here is Mr. Ian White, obviously our glorious leader. He's just making the point that, obviously, talking to Rob, saying that, look, this portal's free forever, Rob, isn't it? Well, is it technically, or if you live till 101, you might see a big price increase, is it? But it's that. We're being cynical.
I can't tell you what will happen after 100 years because I probably won't be alive. But the good news is for agents that they sign a contract with the company. And if the company is still around in 100 years, that means that they will have that service free of charge.
Okay, cool. We got a couple of, there's a query here actually from, hi Kyle, just tried contacting OneDome a few times, an email for call, but haven't had a response. So maybe if you could just follow up with that. That sounds like an inquiry there for it. And Kyle goes on to mention as well, in regards to Sprift, will your offer give us full Sprift access to everything they offer, or is it limited? That's an important point, is it? Is it just a service, or is it the full Sprift?
Full Sprift service.
That's really good. Okay, great. Hopefully that helps us. Kyle, if you want to just drop details over just to simon@kerfuffle.com, I'll happily forward on your details to Babek afterwards as well, and we'll get that sorted out as well. Great. So you mentioned there, obviously, in terms of the average, what did you say it was £350, was it? 300. Obviously, that there will be outliers that are doing much more than that. What are some of the stellar performers? What can some of the best performers achieve on your portal?
Well, it depends on their mortgage relationship, really. So it depends on whether they have a mortgage business in house or they're happy to kind of use one of our players. So this is kind of a figure I would want agents to kind of focalize on, but our goal is obviously to drive this figure as high as possible. In terms of the best performance that agents, in terms of revenue that agents can get from us, if agents sign up to get a vendor lead from us, get the revenue from conveyancing and mortgages, obviously sky is your limit there, right? I mean, it depends on how much money agent makes in terms of how much they charge and consumer prospective vendor or a vendor on a transaction. So it can be several £1,000s.
Wow. Okay. Impressive. Carl just says thank you. Hopefully he's going to drop some details over there. And you mentioned there. Well, look, I don't envy you because, of course, as you said, you're up against multi-billion-pound companies here. You're also up against just a matter of fact, isn't it, that these companies, especially Rightmove, have had a decade to ingrain themselves through Ian Wright and everything else into it there. So how are you going to, get to the consumer there? I mean, obviously it's going to take time, but what does the average person know of OneDome, do you think?
So we have different stages. So the first stage is obviously direct response, or so-called digital marketing. And the reason why we use digital marketing and partnership is because we don't have critical number of listings. There's no point of doing any kind of above the line marketing campaign like radio or TV if you don't have enough listings. Yeah. So our critical number at the moment is 10,000 estate agency branches. Once we have 10,000 estate agency branches, we will start to look into above the line marketing campaign, very much with a different message. So our message is that we're a home buying platform. We're not a place where you can just look at the pretty pictures of properties. There's a lot more you can do with the properties within our platform that you would be able to do with the Rightmove or other companies or other websites. We aim next year to go to above the line marketing. This year, still going to be very much focused on digital marketing. Obviously, we are a listing partner of Facebook Marketplace. Something as I've been obviously very vocal about. I believe if somebody offers agents a free way to generate more leads, as any businessman, we should always try to embrace anything that helps to increase the exposure of our business, but also increase the number of leads we generate. And we continue to look at this kind of partnerships with the view on how we can get more exposure to our listings. At the moment, we do about 40 million. So our listings are currently exposed to about 40 million users per month. Obviously, out of that, only 1.5 million users come to our website. But in terms of exposure, we actually give a much larger exposure to agency properties than what we manage to generate at the moment. And our product team work day and night in trying to get to a better place in terms of the lead generation. Our goal is to get to a level where we generate 100 leads per branch per month to estate agents by middle of next year. So that is our kind of, you ask about what's our goal. So this is one of my goals, is to get to 100 leads per branch per month.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good target to go for. Look, I've obviously knowing you for some time now. Obviously, your technical team is exceptional. The stuff you turn out is of a high quality. I think everybody knows that. Give us a flavour as to the sort of team that is backing all this up. What's the size of the team that you can give us? I mean, obviously, you've put a lot of investment into this, haven't you?
Absolutely. Well, I put all my savings into it, and we've been really humbled by raising money from some good family offices in UK. Family offices that are very much predominantly focused on finance and property. We haven't raised money from kind of VC community so far. It's mainly been family offices and obviously my personal savings. Now, in terms of our team size, so we have 50 people working in OneDome. We have a very large engineering team, engineering and product team, which is about 60 to 65% of the overall team. So hence the reason we can turn around these new products. We constantly work on the feedback. Any feedback we receive, if that feedback obviously makes sense and it's supported by a lot of other businesses as well, we will take it on board and try to fix this as quickly as we can. And then again, I'm grateful to a number of estate agents who told us about things we don't do right. And don't get me wrong, we will do things wrong because we are, first of all, there's nobody perfect. Secondly, we're not an estate agent. So we are learning as we go. We try to do our best. We obviously look at other industries. So our head of products come from Domain, which is a second largest portal in Australia. He prior to that, he worked as a product manager for a number of successful fintech companies in UK. So we try to take other experiences from other industries and try to apply them. Sometimes it works, sometimes we don't get this right. But the good news is some agents been really, really open with us and been really helpful in trying to guide us in the right direction. And we try to obviously take that on board and try to do the best out of it. At the end of the day, this is a a collaborative work. No portal can exist without estate agents. So, and hopefully agencies also value what we do. So it's a collaborative work, and we hope that this will help us to build a very successful community of agents, lawyers, and mortgage brokers, and make them actually like each other. Because at the moment, as I'm sure you know, when you talk to agents about law firms and the mortgage brokers, some of them will have the view you just shared earlier.
Yeah.
And when you speak to lawyers or mortgage brokers, they would also sometimes have a different view about estate agents. But in reality, it's nobody's fault. The reason why transactions are like that, it's a structural problem.
Yeah. So you're basically a prop tech Cilla Black, aren't you? Just blind date. You're getting all of these key partners together in some wonderful, wonderful.
No, I mean, you know, like no conveyancer wake up in the morning thinking how I will delay this transaction, right? Like everybody always trying to do their best to their best possible capabilities. And no mortgage broker will wake up in the morning thinking how I can screw my customer. Everybody is going out there with the best intentions, but things are getting delayed because there is a structural issue. And so what we're trying to do is we've kind of split this whole process into little sub-processes and say, okay, so can we improve here? If we can, we will do it. There are certain things we can't improve, but we're obviously always striving to make the process better. And I'm pleased to say on some test cases, we are shrinking the process by nearly 40%. And at the moment, and I'm sure probably Richard, our head of product, will hate me saying that, his goal is by end of this year is to shrink process by 70%. And that is on chain transactions. So whether we'll get there or not, we'll see. We're definitely trying our best.
Well, you're going in the wrong direction.
But it's kind of we all have to work together, right? Like we all have to work together as community to help each other, because if the transactions goes down to 30% or 40% of what it is at the moment, everybody will win. An agent will get their money quicker, customers will be happier, conveyancers will get their money quicker, and mortgage brokers will get their money. So everybody will end up winning out of this, even UK government, because at the moment, as you know, UK government's one of the preoccupation they have is on how to speed that process, how to make UK home buying process competitive versus other countries.
We might even see estate agents shoot up that, the professions, most respected professions list as well. That'd be there we are. If you can deliver on that, that'd be awfully helpful. Babak, obviously the portal market has been fun, to say the least, over the last couple of months. Have you just sat sort of like the Michael Jackson gif with your popcorn and sat there watching with fun? Or, I mean, I'm guessing you must have been a big recipient of obviously people's frustrations, the well voiced frustrations. Did that benefit you in terms of recruitment?
So yeah, two different things obviously here. In terms of challenger portals coming to the market, I think it's actually a very good thing for the industry. Yeah. And it's kind of, maybe it's bizarre to hear it from me as another challenger portal, but I think what portal lacked in the past is competition, right? So we had loads of portals kind of in early 2000s. I think somebody mentioned to me there was about 160 portals, and a lot of them obviously disappeared. We've seen the emergence of Rightmove and Zoopla acquired a number of them. I think the fact that we have loads of different portals and all of them have their own USPs, and whether this will work or not, I have no idea, right? Launch a portal is the simplest step in the process. The hardest bit is getting agents to use it, but also getting consumers to come and then connect them together. That is where the biggest challenge is. So time will show, but I think what will come out of this is there will be more innovation for sure.
Yeah.
The prices will be more checked, i.e., there won't be any more like a monopolistic approaches that some firms took in the past. They will be probably a bit more careful on how they treat their customers. That's again a very positive thing for agents. And I would invite any agent to list with every challenger portal possible, because at the end of the day, the worst thing you're going to get out of this is some extra exposure.
Yeah.
If they obviously charge you, think about how much they charge and whether that makes sense or not for your business. I can't obviously comment on that, but there's no reason for you not to have as many portals as possible. It's an extra benefit. So that's kind of on the one side. In terms of benefits we've seen, yes, I mean, we've been really, when COVID and lockdown was first announced, we were a little bit worried about what will happen to the overall industry, what will happen to our customer base, and I think we've been really lucky with the fact that we had such a good chancellor who did a very quick approach and saved the whole industry, not only our industry, actually most of the SMEs in the UK, and that was, I think, a pivotal moment, because once that happened, we've seen a lot of agents were questioning their kind of upfront costs that they had, and we obviously a free portal that made our conversation with agents much easier. In last 15 weeks, we had over 2,000 branches that joined OneDome. That is the highest kind of productivity period we've ever had in the lifetime of OneDome. And we've been launched in 2016, and we obviously launched our portal in 2019, but we've been going for many years now. So that was great. And we've also started to see traction with some properly large firms that we thought will be the last firms who will join us, because larger firms obviously take a lot more time to assess the information. There's a lot of people who need to make decisions in the process. Next week we've been extremely bad or maybe understated in promoting who is using OneDome. And that's been a feedback I get actually from one of estate agents saying, why you don't talk about agents that use OneDome? We've kind of been always very focused about engineering, and maybe you can call us a bit geeky. We've been focused on the product, so we sometimes forget about marketing. Yeah. So next week we will start to announce some of these firms that are joining OneDome or have joined OneDome already and seen some traction with it.
If only there was a website that was focused on suppliers in this industry, Babak. That's genuinely, do let us know who's joining up. We'd happily share that, obviously, with our clients and put it on your landing page. Obviously, we encourage everybody, as usual, to go and have a look at your landing page and see further information about you. And obviously, if you want to talk to Babak in more detail, just click on the Inquire Now button now, and we'll forward on all leads through to you there. And what are we missing then, Babak? Are there any other benefits we haven't touched on to agents, or have we listed them all?
Yes, so obviously we can group them in several groups, right? So OneDome Guarantee is something, it's a free buyer protection insurance that will be available to all agents listing with OneDome if they also transact within OneDome. So that's one benefit. The value of that benefit, £90 per policy, 120 policies a year is the limit per branch. So you can do the math yourself. It's quite a big chunk of cash saving for estate agents who want to use that. The second thing, anything you see on OneDome, we also provide to agents on the website, because I believe the best business tool an agent will have is their own website, right? This is your business card. So we have various tools that we build, things like booking tools. We have an instant valuation tool. We have an instant, basically a marketplace that can be integrated on agent website to generate instant conveyancing quotes. All of those tools, we call them web tools. And all our agents can have access to them completely free of charge. Again, the value of that is in hundreds of pounds per month per branch. With the competitive products out there, we give it again free to all our agents. And again, the purpose of all of that is twofold, right? Like, get more and more engagement with OneDome by agents, but at the same time, make our agents to have more to say when they meet the vendor, right? Yeah. And my absolute goal for the next 6 to 12 months is to make OneDome agent the rock star. And I told our team, we will do whatever it takes, regardless whether we make money from it or we spend money on engineering with no revenue like we did with Sprift. Obviously, we make no money out of this, and obviously it takes engineering and product time. All of the things, the sole goal is we're going to make our agents to be rock stars and be very different from everybody else.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that was what I was alluding to earlier. Those web tools that obviously you launched some time ago, they are incredibly polished. And I think, any of your agents that had those on their websites, would have been very relieved actually going into lockdown, because as I've made the point endlessly, those people that didn't have all firing websites would have been kicking themselves, wouldn't they? They can't make that same mistake. And if I mean, there's many different reasons they should obviously come to you, but if one of them is just to have is to promote yourself a number of levels of functionality up, they should obviously be talking to you on that. And I'd encourage everybody to have a chat. Just before we just leave it as well, we've just got Carl just asked a question. Does OneDome currently have a live feed from Voltier? I think Voltier is an Australian state agency CRM from memory. I don't know if Carl, do you know that one, Babak?
Good question. I have to say I don't, but I can come back to you on this one.
I'll drop you over that email there. I think it is. I think they've come over from Australia, but I should know my stuff. But anyway, I'm a bluffer half the time. Babak, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you for spending that hour with us. Some really useful. I certainly I know about you, but I think you've helped elaborate on that for everyone. Look, if only to come to you and talk about that Spriff tie-up is a fantastic, really knockout deal there. So again, I encourage everybody, drop you a line, get that 6 months there, and I wish you all the very best, Babak. Please do obviously keep us informed, and we'd love to have you back on, and when you hit that 10,000 figure, and we'll celebrate. We might even do it face to face. You never know. We might be allowed to do it then as well.
Fingers crossed. Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.